Hi guys, Nick Watts here for We Love Betting. I'm rather riddled with man flu this week, so excuse me if I start to engage in any pathetic coughing or sniffles along the way. I've got my tissues to hand in case there's any disasters. Premier League coupon probably not really helping me out, and it's a bit of a toughie. I've pondered over this one for quite a while, but it's probably time for me to stop moaning and move on to my first bet, quite frankly. Chelsea Wigan is where I'm going first. Chelsea obviously had this recent dip in form, and much been made of that. People talking about their season falling apart. Actually, if you look at the form over the last 10 games or so, have a bit of a wider picture. They're second in the form table on that basis. Wigan 19th over the same period, so put things in perspective a little bit there. You think back, Chelsea obviously beat Arsenal, and they drew Southampton somewhat surprisingly last time they were actually at home. The two games they've dropped points in most recently have been away from home, so they're still the second top scorers in the league behind Manchester United as well. So there's still a fair bit going for Chelsea. They probably need to work on their concentration a little bit, but I wouldn't say their season's falling apart quite just yet. They're playing Wigan, of course, this weekend. Head-to-head record here is pretty convincing. They've won 6 of the 7 meetings, drew the other one since Wigan got up to the Premier League. The aggregate score is Chelsea 19, Wigan 3. So generally been one that they've run out easy winners. Not actually been that great against bottom 7 sides, bottom 8 I should say, so far this season. They've played 7 of the 8, Wigan being the last of those. And actually they've only won 4, drawn 2 and lost 1, which is obviously a lay at the kind of 1 to 3 they're floating around at. But interestingly, all 4 of those wins have paid out on the handicap, the -1. And I think that's the direction I'm going to go again here. 10 to 11 did actually see even money at one point, but 10 to 11 for Chelsea -1 looks good enough for me. On to the second game then, and it's Stoke Reading. Interesting one this, in that it's Stoke obviously that are odds on at home, and yet it's Reading who are the side who are very much in form. They've won 4, drawn 1 and lost 1, compared to Stoke's drawn 2 and lost 4, albeit 3 or 4 Reading wins were at home, where they've obviously picked up the vast majority of their points. In fact, I think they're the worst away team in the Premier League, according to their record so far. But confidence probably never been higher than it has been at this point in the season, having picked up those wins, having had those absolutely stellar comebacks of late, and I think it's led to them scoring a few more goals. Stoke admittedly have had tough fixtures against the likes of Arsenal, Man City and Chelsea, but can they just suddenly beat Reading off the back of all those defeats? I think it's a bit demoralising, to be honest, and confidence can suffer as a result, and maybe performances do too. It's actually goals where I'm going with this rather than the result, although I am tempted by Reading's ability to get a draw here. They've scored in 6 straight games with Reading. The last 5 games have seen 3 goals or more, and they've conceded in every away game so far this season, so definitely propensity for goals there. Excuse me. Stoke have conceded in 7 straight, despite obviously being the somewhat more robust side earlier on in the season, and 4 of 5 have gone over 2.5 goals. The exception, of course, being that game against Arsenal last week, where their tactics were very much to kind of stifle Arsenal and not do an awful lot of attacking themselves. Not so much been the case when they've played against sides in the bottom 6. 5 of their 7 meetings with those sides have seen both teams score, which kind of suggests Stoke go for it a little bit more, just on that stat. 4 of those 7 have been over 2.5 goals, but it's both teams to score that I'm going for. I'm recording on Thursday night here. Another one where Wednesday I saw even money. I think I even saw a little touch of odds against, but 10 to 11 now. Still looks a bet to me. I think Reading can get on the score sheet, and they've conceded every away game, so both teams to score 10 to 11. Final fixture then, and I said it was a tough coupon, so I'm going to be really boring here and back Manchester United to beat Everton on Sunday. Just on Thursday, as I say, I'm recording now, and they seem to have drifted to 5 to 6, which looks a tasty enough price to me. Tends to be a tight contest, this, and you can, I guess you can see why some people would like to lay Manchester United at that price. In the last 8 meetings, United have won 4, they've drawn 2, Everton won 2. Everton were actually the last side to win it by 2 clear goals, so it does tend to be a tight affair. Everton have been very difficult to beat, drawn far too many games, of course, this year, but they've only lost 3 times, which means only City have actually lost less than them. That said, they've only been to City in terms of going away to top 7 sides, where they earned a draw, admittedly. But yet to have those kind of big tests, which will ultimately define whether they're going to be challenging for that top 4 spot or not, come the kind of business end of the season. United, meanwhile, absolutely excellent at home. Obviously had that blip against Spurs early on, but they've won 9 in a row. They've won 11 of 12 overall. Scored an awful lot of goals. I'm tempted just to back them 5 to 6 to keep things simple. But if you wanted a bigger price, they have won 8, drawn 2, and lost 2 after 45 minutes at Old Trafford, and you can get 15 to 8 for them to be winning at half time and full time, which seems an awful big price for a side that's so strong on their home turf, albeit against a testing opposition in Everton. So I'm keeping it simple, and I'm going for United at 5 to 6. Just to recap then, Chelsea Wigan, I'm going Chelsea -1, 10 to 11. Stoke and Reading, I'm going both teams to score at the same price, also 10 to 11. And 5 to 6, Manchester United to beat Everton on Sunday. Cheers, guys.